Hey everybody, I'm Cameron.
I'm Zach.
I know everything.
I know that Theon's not having a good day.
He's not. And this is the Watching You Watch podcast.
Whew.
So Theon's having a rather
Bad time.
bad time.
Season of torture so far.
Season of torture, not a season of love.
No.
There will never be a season of love for him anymore,
No.
in a manner of speaking.
Was there?
Was there ever?
Was there ever? Is this because he had daddy issues?
I mean, 100%. This is Game of Thrones we're talking about.
Everyone has daddy
Everyone
issues.
has daddy issues.
Especially the daddies.
Especially the daddies. So welcome back to the Watching You Watch podcast, where we recap shows with the special theme that one of us has seen the show before and one of us has not. So I've been taking Zach through Game of Thrones, and we're on season 3.
Oh boy.
It's a crazy season.
Yes.
It's a dark season.
Yeah, actually.
There's a lot of things happening, and we're most of the way through it, which is really crazy to think about.
I know. And I was wrong. I'm feeling better this episode, which, never mind. That actually terrifies me the more I think about it.
Yeah, don't think too hard about it. We just finished watching episode 7 of season 3 called The Bear and the Maiden Fair, which is a total reference to something that happens at the end of the episode.
Did not see coming.
But,
But, well, I don't know. Lannis just paid their debts, I guess.
right, we're going to get to that. But right now, Zach, let's talk about some of our highlights maybe of this season, of this episode.
Let's see.
What are some of your highlights from this episode?
We get, like you had said during the episode, we get an awkward love triangle of the one grimy dude that tried to let Jon Snow and Ygritte fall to his death. Like,
Yeah, the warg.
that was interesting, and there's definitely tensions aren't always high in that camp as per usual, and it's interesting that Jon's just basically like, you know, your people have come down here 6 times, and 6 times we've killed them, and number 7's not going to be any luckier. And she's like, you say you people, it's us, I own you. And he's like, okay.
Pretty much.
It's like, ooh, that's a windmill. No, that's a castle. You're wrong. I'll get you silks and then rip them off of you. No, you will do no such thing.
Yeah, Ygritte knows what she wants, and it is not to have a dress ripped from her.
It's if she gets a nice thing, she wants to keep it. It's an interesting thing. And
Yeah.
it's like, he had to explain to her the concept of fainting, which was awesome.
That was wonderful.
That was wonderful. Jon
Yes.
Snow would faint before she would. Everyone knows this. But that's pretty much in their camp. And then we also have Bran's merry band of people going north. And we finally get to see Osha's reasons for not wanting to go up there, because her lover, Bruno Mars, came back and threw a grenade at her. What was his name? Bruni?
Bruni.
Bruiser. Okay,
Name is
good.
Bruni.
Okay, I didn't believe it. My brain said Bruni. It's like, no, it's probably something stupider.
It's Bruno
and then I
Mars.
made a joke to
Yeah.
to cover up the fact that I wasn't sure. it's my defense mechanism. But yeah, that makes a lot more sense, because before I thought she was just being standoffish, and it was actually, I don't know.
It rounds her out very nicely.
It does, and it makes more sense. And then it's also putting some tension, because truly she was the reason that they'd be able to make it, because like Bran's like, I need to go past the wall, which is a horrible place for him to be.
Yeah. Like this whole time she's operating off of the assumption like, we're going to take you to John and like everything's going to be okay.
Yeah, but she knows. She has that sense.
And
she
she's
has
like,
that
something's
sense
up.
from
And
all
then
the
she
drugs.
then she addresses
She knows.
because she's drugged out Frodo Baggins.
She knows.
So drugged out Frodo Baggins has a
Knows.
thing with Bruno Mars.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yes, it's gonna happen in real life.
Right.
Elijah Wood and Bruno Mars.
Oh dear.
2K17.
Oh my gosh.
Anyways, so that was interesting, and also I flippin' called it. Arya runs and then gets hounded. Yeah, like she's like, you guys are liars and I hate you. And you're like, you'll understand when you're older. It's like, I'm sick and tired of everyone telling me this. And she runs away, and it's like, you shouldn't talk to strangers. And he's like, oh no, the hound. He's like, yep, it's me. And then
Yeah.
he straight up abducts
She
her
has
again.
the stereotypical like moody teen moment, which I guess we were due for.
Yeah, because this happens with every group she's with. Like,
Yeah.
I don't like you guys. You're not good. And it's like,
You're not my real dad.
Well,
Runs
yeah, it's
away.
like, the world is crap. And they're like, it sure is. And he's like, I hate this. And she runs away.
Yep.
So I guess there is becoming a little bit of a predictable pattern for her, and I 100% knew the Hound would get her.
Why? How did you know that? I'm just curious.
Just because they're like connected by some sort of like red string of fate.
Red string of fate. Got it.
Like, I don't know. Although he probably doesn't like the color red or yellow or orange because that's all fire.
Yeah, that's all fire.
But she's also pledged her allegiance to the god of death, which so metal, should find Mance Raider.
Yeah. I mean, between like, Sirio, her dancing instructor, who is like, like the only god
He's
who's
not dead.
Yes, according to Zach, and in Zach's fanfics,
Don't
he's not dead.
worry about it. He's not dead. He's alive in our hearts.
And then Jack and Hagar, her kind of mentor / person that owed her death.
They're gonna make a Death Justice League.
Like, they were all like, the god is death, and then she's like, you know what? Yeah, the god is death.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And her dad didn't teach her about the old gods soon enough.
Nope.
She didn't think they were cool enough.
Yeah.
Not as cool as the god dad.
I mean, would you rather worship a weeping tree or death?
I don't know. That's tough. There's a lot of choices.
Yeah.
It's tough being a moody girl without her
In
needle in the
Westeros.
world.
Yeah.
Yes. And let's see. We went to King's Landing where Tyrion's all like, don't worry about it. You're going to be like the best almost wife that I could ever have. And Shay is like, seriously, you bought me gold chains and you try and tell me that I'm going to be your mistress. Wow. Don't I feel loved and appreciated?
Yeah.
And she storms out on him. He's like, well, frick.
Yeah,
And
no
everyone's
one
like,
won that
and everyone just
conversation.
keeps saying, it's like, you want to frick Sansa? And he's like, no. And they're like, yeah, you do. And he's like, this is awkward.
Yes.
And he finally had boy talk with Bronn. And
Yes.
he's just like, even telling, he's like, go on.
Yep.
On. You know you want to. And he's like, seriously, what the heck do I keep you around for? It's like to talk about debauched thoughts and drink wine. And he's like, all right.
Yep.
And that's their relationship. Good
right
talk.
now it is, because there's no fighting.
And also, Sansa and Margarine are speaking, and I knew it was going to happen, but eventually, like she's saying, it's like, it wouldn't be so bad to be with Tyrion, and Sansa's all like, and it's finally like I think it's like the first lines it's ever. It was like, I'm such a stupid girl. It's like she gets it, she got it.
Yeah, she got it.
Maybe character development. Nope, she's going down the path of no Y chromosomes.
Oh dear.
I mean,
That's an interesting path to
The
be
kind
on.
of scary thing is if the Tyrells would benefit more from her and Sansa having a relationship, it would happen.
Yeah.
If it could, which it really wouldn't, but you know.
I mean, we know that maybe Marjorie has dipped in that pond based on the way she talks there.
Don't even, it's 100%. She 100% has batted for every team and struck it way, way out of the park.
Home runs?
Home runs all around.
Home runs all around.
Home runs all around
Grand
Tyrell
slams.
House.
Ew, never mind. Sorry.
Whoa. Out of the park and into the rose bushes.
Okay.
Yep.
Moving on.
But that's another interesting little tidbit. Also, Tywin is tactfully telling Joffrey what to do, which first time we successfully seen it done since Cersei, and even then we can't say she was so successful.
She really wasn't, though.
He's all like, you guys are holding meetings so far away. And Tywin's like, well, I'll tell you something that's important. But he's like, but there's dragons over the sea. And Tywin's like, if it was a problem, I'd tell you about it. I can handle this. And he's like, I will tell you when something important happens. And Joffrey's like, I'm worried. And he's like,
Yeah.
he steps away with like
There's
the most
just so much disgust
like
going on
yeah
there.
I've seen him disgusted before, but that look he did when he turned around was like, this is my legacy.
I know.
Why?
But it's like the only time you've seen Tywin have to like bite his tongue a little bit, because even he can't, like backtalk the king.
Yeah, because he knows what it would do, because then
Right.
he wouldn't get to tell him anything at all.
Right.
So once again, expertly done, Tywin, but it's interesting how he can play with a hand that's so Joffrey.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
So
bad.
Joffrey.
What else is exciting? Oh yeah, Daenerys is taking names from the yokai over in Easteros.
You were grasping at straws there, but yes,
I
we're-
don't. Yukon. What are they?
the city is called Yunkai,
Getting there.
and it's a slave city with about 200,000 slaves in it.
And she's all like, and they're all like, hey, have all these boats do these things and you'll get favors so much. And he's like, you know what? I'm giving you your life. Isn't that grand? Give me all the slaves. And he's like, this doesn't work. get the gold back. And then the dragons are like, no, ours, gold lust. And he's like,
Yeah, the dragons are prepping their Smaug days.
Yeah. Already she's giving them gold as presents, prepping them to be the hoarders they will become. Won't Mom be so proud when she sees how much gold I've hoarded?
Look how big my trove is. It's bigger than my brother's trove.
Shut up! Burns his trove. It's
Yes.
like, no! Mom, he's burning my gold!
Play nice, children, or I will pull this kingdom over.
I will turn this kingdom around. I won't let you eat any of the enemies. But Mom, our enemies are the tastiest. Yes, I like this.
Yes.
But really, really pretty cool. And the most important thing is he sends Jorah in to like gain intelligence, and he's gonna go do his thing, which he's really, if we think about it from his history, he's pretty darn good at. Because I mean, like, he successfully stood in a camp of Dothraki and didn't get murdered.
Yeah. Yeah, he did. He did do that.
And I assume he probably found his way into this camp because he knew that a Targaryen would be there eventually. Like, I have to give him some credit. I don't know if it's ever mentioned in the show, but that's just my thoughts.
I mean, Jorah's good at his job, which is currently serving Daenerys, but it's also been brought up that he is still...
Definitely doing informant things.
Yeah, he's still definitely doing that for people in King's Landing.
Yes. So that was awesome. I thoroughly enjoyed her scene.
Okay.
Although it was teased last episode that she would be going to Young
Kai.
Dang it.
Close. We're getting closer.
Oh, we're getting there. Before she raises it, I have to learn its name.
You will. Or maybe you won't have to learn it at all. Maybe it'll go that quickly.
Oh, okay. But she's destroyed every town she's been to so far. Why stop the combo?
That's true. Combo breaker.
I know. But, yeah, since nothing else is coming up, there's really nothing else to it. Well, there was also a scene between Melisandre and Gendry. It's like, your blood holds power. And they're like, they're evidently going to King's Landing, which immediately when I saw the sunken ships, I'm like, is this King's Landing?
They were going past King's Landing, I think.
Oh.
And, like, she's basically like, why I want you, right? And
Because King blood. And he's like,
and
no.
Wait, what? And it's like, come on, like, don't
It's
be
like,
so
we're both
stupid.
lowborn. And he's like, no, you have king blood. It's like, I was a slave and my mother was a slave. And then the Lord of Light gave me power and Gendry's like, but I was born in, like, the flea quarter. And she's like, but you got king blood. That was your daddy's house. And she points to, like, King's Landing's
And he's
castle.
like, I'm a bastard of the king? It's like, come on, Gendry, how did you not get this before?
Yeah, there is a little bit of that. But,
Yeah.
I mean, he definitely wasn't raised highborn. So there are questions about his literacy.
Yeah, there might be that, too.
Any
other highlights you want to
Well,
recap?
then I guess the only other one, which is like sort of the titular part of the episode, was like Jaime and Brienne are all like, peace out. I will get the Stark daughters back to Catelyn. She's like, all right, good. I guess I'm just chilling here. Do you know anything about what they're going to do to me? He's like, nah, not really. And then he comes to find out through the mad scientist Maester.
Yeah.
That like they're going to like use her for entertainment, which at first you think is like oh no, they're going to just have their way with her, and then you find out that she's fighting a freaking bear.
I mean, because what else would Brienne be doing?
I don't know. She could have taken, if it wasn't a wooden sword, I feel like she could have taken the bear.
She could have probably taken the bear.
And I think that's probably why they
Which
gave
they
her...
say, like, we had to make it fair. We only have one bear.
That is
they
true.
say that when they go to rescue her.
It is true. Like, that's the thing. Like, if they had given her a real metal sword, she probably would have killed it.
Yeah.
And it's funny because they acknowledge that. And so Jaime jumps in and, like, saves her. And there's this weird, like, I don't know. I feel like more like they have a knight's kinship. I feel like they're making more of, like, a bond through that.
Yeah. Right. Well, we'll talk about that more
Sort
later.
of honors and swaps back and forth. And
For
I don't
sure.
know. It's interesting.
Yeah. Couple things that we aren't going to talk about because none of my recap questions have to deal with them, but I think it's still important to bring up in our podcast is the fact that we found out that there is a Stark baby.
Oh, Stark baby, and yeah, for Rob. Rob's gonna be a dad Dio.
Yeah, we find out that piece of information, and also Theon loses something.
Yeah,
this
he
episode
loses.
Too. Kind of brought this
probably
up.
like I expected this to happen sooner. They were waiting. He loses. Probably his favorite piece.
Yeah, his favorite body part's gone. So rest in peace, Theon's
His chance
penis.
of having kids. His chance. Well, I don't know. It's just like crazy, and you can tell like this dude's nuts. He's like taking out all the bones in his fingers and like,
Yeah.
I don't even.
Just gross.
It's just. And it's funny because like it's to the point where the people are all like, "Oh, we want to have a good time." He's like, "Nope, this is a trap.
Yep.
This is a trap." And then there's the bugle sound.
I mean, they gave him like this like super like porny setup, and like you knew nothing on that was like on the level from the beginning.
Oh
of
yeah.
that.
Oh
So,
yeah. Even Theon figured it out.
Yeah, even Theon knew. And then of course his biology overrid that. So
And they're like, "Haha, too bad.
too bad.
So sad.
Yep.
Eunuch'd."
Anyway, here we go. Let's get into the recap questions because there are some really neat moments that happen in this episode. Again, it's a kind of a quiet episode in some ways because not a whole lot event wise happens, but we're getting these great moments from the different characters in here. One of these moments I do want to zero in on is the whole Sansa and Tyrion marriage. But we see it from two angles, and we see it from the angle of Sansa and Marjorie talking, and we also see it from the angle of Bronn and Tyrion talking, and like their scenes are like back to back, so like we get this like juxtaposition of like like Marjorie trying to cheer Sansa up, and then Bronn trying to cheer Tyrion up.
And both of them trying to set each other up with the other, and they're both like, "This is weird."
So, who do you think was like the better like friend in that scene? Like, who do you think was the better consoler?
Honestly, I feel as if Marjorie was, just because Bronn was just like ribbing on Tyrion. He really wasn't being helpful.
He wasn't.
But Marjorie, what she's saying is true. Like, of all the Lannisters that she could be paired with, Tyrion is one of the best. He would definitely treat her the best.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, looking at things objectively, like anything could be better than Joffrey.
Right. Anything could be, which is odd to have that conversation with, with Marjorie, who's, pledged to be married to be Joffrey.
We know that her intentions aren't pure. The Tyrells are basically just trying to do a broad sweep of everyone.
Right. But one of my personal favorite Game of Thrones moments of all time happens where Marjorie is giving the talk to Sansa about, like people like different things, like they like this body
Bald
type
men
and
hairy men and short men and tall men
and then she like goes through all these things
and pretty women.
Yeah,
she like throws that at the end and is like,
and then she says, like
it's not
people don't
easy
get the
to please a
chance to
woman.
try, we don't get the chance to be pleased.
He's
like,
experienced. This could
Yeah.
be good for you. And she's like, really? And
then,
she's like, mm-hmm.
And then the best part of it, Sansa's like, how did you know all of this? Did your mother teach you? And then Marjorie like pauses and then she looks and she's like, yes, my mother taught me.
It's like, awkward.
It's one of the best moments I think ever in Game of Thrones. I love it. It's one of my personal favorite moments.
Oh lordy.
Marjorie is just so great.
She had an interesting childhood.
She certainly did. Especially being raised by, like Olenna and all that kind of stuff.
Oh my gosh.
Like could you imagine having like Olenna as your grandmother?
Only imagine. I don't know. And it's weird because have we seen the two of them in a scene together?
We have, way back at the beginning of the season. Like, remember when they had Sansa come together and she told them that Joffrey was a monster?
That's what I thought. Oh yeah, they were together.
They were together for that.
I don't know. They have like a good dynamic. It's not like she's not rude to Marjorie.
Yeah.
So that's okay.
She loves her. She loves her family.
Yeah, that's the thing. She loves them in pieces.
She does.
She'll talk about them poorly behind their backs if they do things that aren't for the family, but she loves them.
Now, one grandparent who doesn't have such a hot relationship with their grandchild is Tywin and Joffrey. So we get this really interesting scene with them as well, where what they talk about is basically inconsequential. Like, it's Joffrey being a moody teen.
Yeah, he's like, there's dragons, I don't like dragons.
Yeah, but like what we really see is this really interesting power play between
the two of them.
Like, who do you think really held the power in that situation?
Oh, definitely Tywin. And it's funny because Joffrey knew it. And he knows, like, I could tell my grandpa to be killed. But he's like, is that a good idea?
Yeah. Like he's, like, shrinking into his throne the whole time.
He would, well, I don't know. He's not been raised to be very feminist. So, of course, he would just dunk on his mother.
Yeah, but, I mean, like I'm saying, like, Joffrey's sitting there the whole time during that scene with Tywin. And, like, the more that Tywin like steps up, the more like you see Joffrey
he just kind of crumples in on himself.
He crumples in on the throne, and like he's not even looking right into his grandfather's eyes.
Oh yeah,
like,
and like he just he's more afraid. And it's funny because like the other part of that scene is as Tywin is leaving, he loosens up a bit, kind of breathes a sigh of relief, and goes back to anxiously thinking about dragons.
So, I mean, what do you think that means, though? Like, in the grand scheme of things, the fact that, like, Joffrey is scared of Tywin, and, like, Tywin's...
I think it's very obvious how strong of a man Tywin is, but I don't know. I feel like he has, like, a General Tarkin sort of thing going on. The more he squeezes, the more things will slip through his fingers.
Okay.
Sort of thing. Because everyone knows he's tough.
It doesn't worry you that, like, basically, like... Tywin is like the functional king, for lack of a better word, right now?
Not exactly, because Joffrey's a garbage king.
Okay, so at least Tywin's like doing things.
Yeah, he'll do things. He'll run a nation well, like not necessarily, fairly and justly, but he'll run it well by his family, which means at least things will, not grind to a halt or become like, well, he's trying to stop a civil war, and Joffrey is literally doing nothing to help.
Yes. Which I think is funny when that scene opens up, like Joffrey's like, I haven't been able to come to the meetings because I've been doing kingly things.
And it's like, what is that?
What does that even mean?
Like, yeah, exactly. Yeah, like, we have never seen a thing that Joffrey's done that has helped. And Tywin is, like, managing a war, partially managing
like, we've never
kingdom.
seen Joffrey do anything from, like, a management level of stuff, basically.
Yeah.
So it's just like, okay. So
it's him in the day. It's like, and you have to sign these things. And he puts his seal on, like, 10 different things and is like, I'm bored. I want to shoot my crossbow.
Yes. Yep. Well, that happens, and I think it's a really interesting exchange. But then one thing I also find really interesting is something happens with Bran this episode that, like, we kind of felt like was coming, but now we have it really, like, laid out there. And that's that, Osha decides to really confront this whole, like, mystical crap going on.
Which she was never a fan of.
Yeah, with Bran. And basically, like, Bran admits, like, yeah, like, we're not going to Castle Black anymore. We're going north of the Wall because I need to meet the Three-Eyed Raven because I have a special destiny.
And she's like, what do you think special about your destiny? You're a stinking cripple.
So, do you think Bran has a special destiny? Like, what do you think's going on there?
I honestly think he might, and that is a recurring theme. Like, royal blood has some sort of extra special sway. And he's one of the few people who has had, like, sort of magical things happen. Like, his powers aren't unfounded. When he, like, saw some of his visions before, those things came true.
Right. So,
I feel as if he could, but it doesn't necessarily mean that he will achieve his super special awesome destiny.
Right.
So, unfortunately.
So what do you think he'll find if he makes it that far?
I don't know, and I don't even know if his party could survive the North. Like, that's what scares me.
I mean, you got him, and Osha, and Hodor.
Well, yeah, Hodor's a beast.
You
but
got
still.
Rickon, you got Jojen and Mira, and then two direwolves.
Yeah, which we haven't seen for a while. Their budget must have been flexed on other things. Yeah,
that's what happens, actually. Like, it's written off as, like, the direwolves are out hunting.
And doing their own thing.
Like, really, it was just, like, we didn't want to animate them, so.
All the time. Yeah.
That's really
a lot.
what it was, yeah.
Which makes me sad. I miss them.
Yeah.
I miss them.
It's sad.
Yeah, I do believe it's a super special destiny, but I am a little bit, I don't know, I'm not sure if he'll achieve it.
Okay.
And I'm not even sure what it would necessarily be. And just because you get a special destiny doesn't mean it's going to be a good thing.
Right. And what do you think this means for, like, the grand scheme of things? Like, what's going on in the world right now in Westeros?
I don't know. I mean, like, it's going to be definitely good for them to have people who have the magic powers on their side, because there are just some forces out there that take no heed to anybody but themselves.
Are we thinking, like,
like White Walkers
or Melisandre?
Well, I don't know. At least she has, like, a code as weird and whacked out as it may be.
Her code is Stannis.
Well, it's Lord of Light.
Yeah, and Lord of Light.
It's more Lord of Light. Stannis just happens to align with that, which means she'll do everything in her power to make him succeed, which is terrifying.
That's true.
Which, I don't know. I've been wondering with Gendry if she isn't, like, jumping ship. Or if it's more like she's hedging her bets because it's two Baratheons.
Well, like, let's talk about that.
And one of them is, like, younger, more virile, more able to do things. Stannis is kind of, like, past his prime. So
Now-
is she like hedging her bets?
Well, now that you've seen Gendry and Melisandre interact with each other, like now we might know, you might have a better sense of where things are going with her. What do you think her plans are for Gendry? We asked this last time, but I mean, what do you think it is?
Him up, and I don't know what it necessarily means. Part of it is I wish I knew where she was thinking going. It would help me a whole lot to know that too. But I almost see him as sort of like a backup plan to Stannis, which is a little bit scary because...
I mean, if we're being real technical about it, Gendry's a Baratheon.
Yeah, that's the thing. He's a younger Baratheon.
Yeah.
So that's when I kind of started to wonder, because I'm like, okay, what's his super special destiny? And just sort of like the way she talks to him, it's like, this is exactly how I would imagine her like starting with Stannis. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sort of like, you have a greater destiny, you have royal blood. And I mean, obviously he knows that and believes it, but she has to kind of coax it out of Gendry and like spoon feed him.
Yeah.
So I'm just curious to see where it's going. Because there's like 2 or 3 ways it could go.
Right.
One of them being still Camp Stannis, and like she's going to do something weird with Gendry, like voodoo him into Stannis, or I don't know, just do something weird.
But like Gendry's whole reaction is like, I can't be special, because I'm just a bastard. I'm just lowborn. And then she's like, well,
But
I'm
no.
special and I was a slave.
Exactly. And she's like,
so
how
it
much
means
more
nothing.
special could you be? And like, yeah. Well, and that's great because it goes back to the theme of it doesn't matter where you came from.
Right. Power is power.
Power is power. Yes. Yeah, in the end. But yeah, that's just, I'm interested to see where that goes. Just because, I don't know, when Melisandre does something, it is with very specific intent.
And you have to pay attention to her because it's always, going to end someplace interestingly. You know?
Well, and that's the thing, because she's one of the few like truly magical people in the show, so it's really hard to
Right.
predict her moves. Everyone else is like, I'm going to talk to this to do this and do that to do this. She's just like, I'm getting this person. He has royal blood, and it's like,
And she doesn't
what
tell you what
could
she's
that
doing,
even mean?
Yeah, it's true. Like everybody else like announces their intentions and then like she doesn't.
Yeah, you just know it's Lord of Light related, and
Yeah.
that could mean literally anything.
Right. Okay, well, let's move on to something that the episode gets its name for. The final moments of this episode involve
boy.
Jaime rescuing Brienne from a bear.
The maiden meets the bear, or
Yes,
whatever.
the bear and the maiden fair.
Oh,
Yeah,
more rhyming.
more rhyming, of course.
Okay, of course.
And this scene starts with, Jaime talking with Qyburn about, what's going to happen, and he wants to make sure. He basically like Jaime kind of like lets on that he's kind of concerned for Brienne because he's like, how much money did her father like pay to get her back?
They believed your
And then-
lie about sapphires.
Yeah, and they believed the lie about the Sapphire Islands that he told that they had all these sapphires.
Oh yeah,
and
so
spoiler
getting
alert,
that
they
note,
don't.
Yeah, for like 300
And
dragons of gold or whatever is like
piddly
compared
to,
to like the riches a sapphire mine could bring.
right, which doesn't exist.
Exactly.
And like it's almost like you can see like Jaime like trying to mask his like guilt over that,
Yeah, like, that's
the
the
fact
thing.
that his lie is the reason why Brienne's back there.
Yeah,
Still.
because he knows that it's on him, and so
Right.
he kind of, and it's funny because she's paid his debt to him, and yet he feels another debt to pay, and I feel like more of a kinship is coming, and I don't
Right.
know what happens if it will ever truly even out or what, or if it's like sort of like they're both knights and they both understand honor,
Right.
and to some degree Jaime does have that. He just, I don't know, weird complex
Well,
situations.
that's what I want to get from you is, do you think we really are seeing a pivot in Jaime's character? We kind of had some breaking moments for him, especially a couple episodes ago where
yeah.
he's in the baths with her and he just completely loses it. Like, are we seeing Jaime's character pivot right now?
I don't know if it's necessarily pivot. I think he's just getting to grow, because I think I mentioned before, I felt like he was just sort of like, he's never really made his decisions because Tywin's made a lot of his decisions. So this is like him sort of growing on his own and going through like a tough time without his sister or his father to fall back on. And it's weird because like Brienne, another knight, is his rock. So I feel like it's almost giving him like more of a like, these are my knightly vows. And I don't think that he's never not necessarily been a knight. He's just gone through some things, and like knighthood has not been what he's expected, and he's
Right.
seen that to like the nth degree. So it's,
But like,
tough for him.
contrast this moment with where we saw him at the beginning of the season, where he's murdering a Lannister cousin so that he can get out of jail, basically.
Exactly.
Like, and then like he takes this kind of, I mean,
This
it's
huge risk.
Yeah, it's a largely unselfish thing that he's doing here, and it's not for family.
Yeah, that's the thing. He's doing it out of like a sense of guilt and maybe even honor, and just like he knows that she owed him a debt. And I don't know, maybe it really is a Lannister thing, like I say, because a Lannister pays his debts.
Right.
And you have to wonder, I don't know. There's still some shadow of doubt, but it's just interesting.
And yet it's interesting though, because like when he goes to see her before all this, like he says like, you know, like we'll find a way to get you, and then she's like, no, you don't, like you will pay your debt to me by like making good on the oath that you made to Catelyn Stark.
Yes.
And yet like he doesn't seem to care about that as much as he cares for Brienne and making sure that he gets her out of there, because it's like there's like a personal thing there. Like she did so much for him, you know, like he feels some sort of, you know, kinship or something for her, you know.
Yeah. It's just interesting. I don't know. And I feel as if it's maybe even a foreign concept to him, because she's someone he can truly like sort of trust, because he knows that she is an honorable person and will not go back on that. So I think it's just an interesting thing for him, because being a Lannister, I'm sure there's very few people around him that he could ever truly trust.
Right.
So I
It's
don't know.
kind of interesting.
Maybe he's getting a true friend is kind of changing his character.
Right. And like an unselfish friend too. Like
Exactly.
Like Brienne is, I don't mean this like in a bad way, but she's simple. Like, you know,
But
like
yeah,
she means
no,
what she says. She says what she
exactly.
means. She gets it all out there.
And she's loyal to a fault. Like
Yeah.
that's the thing. She is a true knight in every sense.
Right. So it's like, you know, like when she says, you know, like she's not selfishly motivated by anything, like he just kind of rolls his eyes and groans, because it's like, oh, okay, it's a knight, you know, blah, blah, blah. He's throwing me in another like bit of pleasantry. He's too world weary for that. But like what he realizes is like everything that she says on that level, like she actually means.
It is
which
true.
May make her stupid, you know, but like...
But in this,
there's got to be something there, like he's refreshed by it or something,
or he just like can't see it, like just go to pass, because like there's probably not another knight like her around like anywhere else,
right?
You know,
there ain't another knight out there like Brianna Tarth.
Nope, she's the best. She could kill you in a dress.
She could. And she almost killed that bear in a dress.
Well, and it's funny because you could tell it was wounded to a certain extent. Not very much, but the fact she did that with a wooden sword.
Oh my gosh, I just love the anarchy of that scene where like even like other Bolton soldiers are like jumping in on like shooting like, it with crossbows, and like Qyburn's in the background being like, what the heck is going on?
And everyone's like looking at everyone else like, we gotta protect him. It's like, we want to mess him up. And it's like,
yeah, like everything is going so wrong. It's like a really awful game of Quidditch going on there.
And Jamie's the stitch.
Yes. So
does that make
that would make
Brienne's the quaffle?
I mean, or she's the beater.
Or she's
with the bludger? Is that what you call it?
Bludger.
Bludger.
I think.
I don't remember. I was never a huge Harry Potter fan.
Whatever.
Yeah.
It's all good. It's all good. We can't put the fantasies together. It doesn't work.
We've ruined it.
Until we see a witch on a broom. Don't tell me if there's a witch on a broom.
Sorry, Harry Potter fans.
It's okay. You have your other podcasts. Go watch them.
Oh, dear. Okay, moving on. So let's get into our weekly wrap-up questions. I feel like we've talked a lot about all the things moving on here, and now it's time to talk about Stark of the Week, because for the second week in a row, we've seen all of them, which I feel like is a rare thing as we get, deeper and deeper into the show and like more and more characters to see. So who would you say is your Stark of the Week this week?
I know we saw the Starks, but nothing is necessarily super impressive.
They don't do a whole lot of moving. It's a whole lot of talking.
Yeah. It's I feel, you know what? And can I name Jon Snow?
Sure.
I feel as if I preferred his scene the most, just because of how like open and honest he was, and he just like trying to get them to understand.
Right.
Like you really truly see like not only the conflict, but the fact that he's in their camp. He's like, this is dumb and we're going to die. We need to not do this.
Right.
It's like, And it's funny because you can kind of see it, the juxtaposition with like her being like, oh yeah, wildlings are the best. Oh my gosh, look at that huge castle. And he's like, that's a windmill. They have no concept of what it is to like take a true fort. They've
Right.
always fought each other just on the land and with guerrilla tactics. And he's like, that ain't gonna cut it.
Yeah. And yet he's like, he expresses like a level of like genuine concern for like wildlings. Like everybody they have
Yeah.
amassed together, like they will all die, you know, and he's
Yeah.
like concerned for them too.
Yeah, exactly. Although she points out, you say you, not us. Which
Right.
is interesting. I don't know. I just thought it was interesting. And also he stood up to the dude who nearly caught him down, which not necessarily new for Jon Snow, but just the way he did it. Like,
Yeah.
he made a point, he stuck to it, and he didn't, like, sulk.
For going past sulky Jon Snow.
Yeah, we're getting, like, a newer Jon Snow, which is interesting.
Right.
So I kind of liked him the most. Because,
Okay.
like, Arya's like, I ran away again. Sansa's like,
Life
well,
sucks.
Life sucks. Like, she almost got that she was dumb, but she didn't really do anything about it. Robert's just like, I'm going to be a dad. And we're like, well, we'll see. We'll see how long a happy thing lasts in this show.
And then Bran's like, I'm going to be some sort of Jesus.
I'm
or
going to
something.
be some sort... Well, he is. He is the reincarnated soul of Lady. He's
Lady
going
Bran
to
fakes.
attain his true powers. He's going to get raven wings and a third eye and a wolf body and run around.
This sounds very biblical.
It. Oh boy. This. No. Maybe. I don't know. He's not Nephilim.
No. What? I don't know what you would call that.
Maybe he is. I don't know.
Starkling.
Stark. Or a Nephilarch.
Oh my gosh.
Interesting.
Moving on.
More for the
Okay.
fanfics.
So there's a lot of people who are, making plays again, as usual with Game of Thrones. And who do you think played the game best this episode?
Oh, Daenerys.
Okay. I mean, at a certain point while I was saying that, I was like, he's going to say Daenerys. So I just don't know why I'm still talking.
It's true. She's just like, no. It's like, and it's funny because everyone's like, this isn't strategically important. He's like, are you kidding? 200,000 people that could be added to our army and vast wealth and ships.
Well, like, she's not even, she's just like more concerned with the fact that they're slaves, it seems.
Yeah, and they're slaves,
though.
and that's the funny thing because, yeah, and that's what's kind of cool, and that's what's kind of great because she stays true to her character, because she could have just been like, cool, as many ships as my entire army needs and as much gold as can fit in all those ships, I'm set. But she said no. She stuck to her guns.
Right.
And I feel like, honestly, for her, that is the best move, because sticking to her guns and being the way she is the best. Like, being fierce and terrible, but also being, like, extremely loyal and, like, passionate to those who are downtrodden.
Yeah. This is the first time, too, I feel like when we're staring at Daenerys in this whole setup that I see a queen.
Well, yeah, like, that's the thing.
You
It's
know?
like, before it was always, like, reference. This was, like, she was on center stage, and everyone just,
Right.
like, introduced her and did stuff for her, and it was like, yes.
And like
this
everything
is
about that
good.
thing pointed to her. It was no longer her, marching through the dust with a bunch of Dothraki. It was no longer her,
No.
with like just two old guys and calling herself queen. Like, she has an army, she's got followers, she's got, an interpreter, she's got fancy silks and gold and all this kind of stuff. Like, she looks like a queen.
Yeah, and the leader was brought to her through a literal, like through her entire army, which is terrifying. He, like,
Yep.
his pants were definitely, I hope he wore his brown pants.
Yeah, I hope
is
he
all
wore
I
his
had to
brown
say,
pants, too.
because, yeah. He did not feel very powerful at that
He
point.
did not know what he was walking into.
No,
Yeah.
not even remotely.
Okay. So Daenerys may have played the game the best this episode, but did she make the best plan? Who had the best plan this episode? Who had the worst plan?
She got the crown, but best plan, worst plan. I don't necessarily know if I can give her best plan, though.
Okay,
That's
because you
the
think like
thing.
a war with Yunkai.
It
where
will
she
be.
could be
It
like-
will be hard.
Right.
Like, the best. Like, if we're thinking of the game, the way it's played through the whole thing, her best move would have been to, like,
Just
take the
go to
boats and run,
Westeros.
because
Yeah.
she could have just had it, but she stuck to her guns, which is the overall best, like, crown thing for
Right.
her. But I don't think I can give her best plan.
Okay.
Although I think she'll pull through. But best plan, worst plan. I think I know who I can give worst plan to.
Okay.
And it was
let's start
honestly Tyrion for trying to even talk to Shay about like a life with Sansa. It's like, he knew how bad that was going to go, and getting her a gift was almost even more of a slap to her face. Like, it would have been better if he had went with nothing, but like
Yeah.
his plan was worse. Like, I can set you up and it'll be great. She's like, I don't want my kids to grow up without their dad, and he doesn't even like mention it. Like every way in the way he approaches that with Shay is wrong, and he tries to be diplomatic about it, but he shouldn't have been.
Do you think he's poisoned his relationship with Shay to like an irredeemable level?
Not an irredeemable level, but there's definitely a rift there, and oh boy, does it have to be awkward when Shay is brushing Sansa's hair or like doing
I'm
any of her
sure.
stuff. Like, I cannot even imagine. And the blessing and all of that is that Sansa will be so obliviously unaware.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
and she still has no idea. She has no idea that Tyrion
Yeah.
and Shay are together.
Yeah. Which is good.
Like this is one of the blessed few times where her ignorance is good
truly
for her,
bliss.
because like Shay has to be like, it's like, oh, there's a knot in your hair. Ouch!
Yeah.
It's like, why is my corset so tight? No reason. Like
dear.
I'm really glad they haven't shown those scenes, because that could, like, I would be terrified, because Shay
Yeah.
is not someone you frack with.
Nope. Shay
Yeah,
the funny whore is not someone you mess with.
no, not even a little. So, and what is best plan?
Yeah, what is the best one?
Oh boy, that's really rough. Because not a lot of like plans are set into motion.
Well, let's see. We've got like Jamie rescuing Brienne. That's a plan.
Like, that's a plan, but once again, we've talked about how selfless that is. That doesn't really help him.
Right.
Like that honestly was pretty close for worst plan, because he could have really bit it and it can still bite him in the butt.
I'm quite frankly surprised you didn't give worst plan to Arya running away, but
But once again, we said that's standard fare.
the standard.
We
fare.
don't really go with status quo things
Yeah, you're right. There's not a lot of people who like are enacting plans.
that are like really different or really expanding upon their character.
Right. So it's like we don't really get to see a whole lot of.
I mean, it was
Moving
all
forward
important
kind of
stuff.
stuff.
It was all good stuff, but
Maybe this category is kind of like null this episode, which is weird to say.
yeah, I'm trying to even just like go through it all and say who has the. Well, you know what? You know who I think this is sort of a cop out, but I think it's appropriate given the episode. I think Osha's plan to literally leave that party that's going north of the wall is
Okay.
literally the best plan.
That could work. Because she's like, I won't go back there.
It's like she knows, like it's literally the best plan, because she's fulfilling all of her obligations and doing everything she needs to do, but she's not like putting herself in
She's like, I
mortal
won't do
peril.
it. Nope.
Because that anymore is probably a death sentence, even for her who lived in the north for
Yeah.
pretty much all of her life.
Right.
So,
But she left there for a reason, and we hear that reason this episode.
yeah, and that's why, I don't know, and especially hearing her say it, because she's pretty fearless. Like, she's
She
dealt with
is.
a lot of stuff, and the fact that she says, I will not go north of the wall, is very, like, that's part of the reason that makes me so scared for Party Bran.
Yeah. Because they have no idea what they're walking into.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I would honestly give that to Osha, because, like, that's the best plan of all of them, because
Right.
not other people have really made plans. We've seen their character expand slightly, or seen like things like, oh, you're having a baby, but that's not really like a plan.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah. It's not really.
there's not. Yeah, and
Yeah.
once again, like I said, I don't feel like I can give best plan to Daenerys. So I honestly, Osha.
You're just going to wait and see how that one pans out.
Yeah, once again, I don't think it'll go poorly for her, but if we're talking about the best like thing overall, like from the game perspective,
Yeah.
which isn't great. Like, I still definitely love that she's gonna save all the slaves. She's going to.
She will.
Well,
Okay.
but, well, you know, and it could also bite her, because since they know that that's her playing piece, like, what if they just start slaughtering the slaves?
You
F with her.
You never know what'll happen.
Exactly. And I don't know. So, yeah,
Well, let's
I
move
stand with what I say.
Let's move on to how hopeful you are. Because I know you walked into this saying
like a 4
you actually felt
or so.
better about this
But
episode,
yeah, this
oddly
week I
enough.
feel like I could give it I think we can go back to a 6.
a 6.
Which, once again, it just sort of depends on how things pan out.
Yeah. Right, because we're kind of in a
But I
little
feel
bit of a
hopeful,
limbo
and this sort of
phase.
thing like left me like more happy. So maybe, I don't know. I guess it's almost like the hopeful is not necessarily how hopeful I am, but sometimes how happy I am coming out of an episode.
Yeah. I mean, there might be some hope to be found in Jaime
And some of
rescuing
the stuff.
Brienne.
And I
all
don't
that
even
kind of
necessarily think that Arya and the Hound being together is a bad thing.
Okay.
Honestly. So, like, there's a lot of things that have happened, and I feel like Jon Snow bearing his feelings like that is good. I definitely don't think that Robert having a baby is good. Theon lost his manhood. That was good. Like, yeah, I think we really evened out at about a 6.
Okay, I can live with that. Well, as always, Zach, it is a pleasure watching you watch. And even when there's episodes like this where there's not a whole lot going on, but, we can walk out of it saying,
There isn't.
There isn't.
Every episode can't be a shocking reveal episode.
That's true. Don't worry, we will get there.
Oh, boy.
We will get there.
Oh, jeez.
So, but yes, like I said, it's a pleasure to watch you go through this. And if you are also enjoying Zach go through this, you can connect with us. You can find us at Useful NPCs on Twitter, and we're also on Tumblr. We're also on YouTube under that name. Perhaps you're watching the video version of this podcast. So, definitely check that out there too. We got some other stuff on our YouTube channel that might be up your alley. So definitely connect with us that way. If you've got a question for Zach in this same leading manner that we've been doing in our show, you can send that in. Maybe we'll use that question here in the podcast. So you can do that over Twitter, Tumblr, or YouTube. We'd love to hear from you. Love to have you connect with us.
Even love to talk about old things. I don't mind refreshing myself because there's a lot in this show.
Yeah, we do this at a fairly breakneck pace, and our plan is to just keep going with this. We'd like to ideally be wrapping up around the same time that the show itself ends, which if you're
maybe we
following
could,
the current season, that is going to be coming soon-ish, which is so sad to think about. Like, Game of Thrones is ending. Like,
it's okay.
I know.
Aren't they planning a prologue series?
There's been talk about it, but
which
we
would
don't
be so
really
good.
know what we're gonna get. Like, apparently, we are
the
not.
Westeros universe is not done.
I know, but apparently we're not gonna get is the Robert's Rebellion series, which we all were kind of like, oh, come on, give us that.
I really thought that and that would be cool.
Yeah,
but I mean, I know that they'd have some problems with it because they can't make Ned Stark younger again. They'd have to recast some people.
I would be totally fine with the recasting.
Which that's okay. That's okay. Yeah. And I mean, it makes sense because that was quite a while before the show itself started.
It was, yeah. So, yeah, options there. We'll have to wait and see what they decide to do moving forward. So, but we're gonna keep this going. We enjoy it. We hope you guys enjoy it too. So, but yeah, that's all we have for you this time. So, I don't know, Zach. Are you feeling like we're seeing redemptive qualities now in Jaime? Maybe we need to go back and watch Jaime back in season 1 and really think about how repugnant he was.
Well,
then.
Yeah, that's the thing. I don't know. I can't help but pity the man who lost his hand.
Yeah, can't help but pity the man who lost his hand. There's a poetry to that.
Yeah, and to some degree. I don't know.
And then contrast the Prince Charming looking thing that we had in season 1.
Yeah,
with
exactly.
What we have now,
the Fabio now to the gruff, road weary prisoner.
He's rolled around in his own poop and blood probably for the last year or so.
Easily. That's the thing. He has definitely gained some humbleness, but we'll see where it goes.
We will have to see where that goes. So we'll keep watching, and you can keep watching with us.
So